Did you know that you can legally and lawfully claim your nationality? Not only that, you can legally and lawfully go ahead and give back the government its citizenship to Washington, D.C., because that's where this citizenship goes to. It doesn't go where you think it goes. You're not a citizen of America. You're a citizen of Washington, D.C. It's 10 square miles. All American citizens are permanently filed in a filing cabinet in Washington, D.C., and that's who you're a citizen of. You may think, well, that's my country, and you're actually wrong. It's a company, and let me show you. Government of the United States Business Directory. This is where businesses go to register. Here's its overview right here. It's doing business as the U.S. government. Does it say country or company description? Why do you think it's headed by a president? President of the corporation. So let me blow your mind for a minute. Check this out. The goal is to create self-authenticating evidence to exercise your first right. Your first right is called free will. It's in here. On paper in government, it's called self-determination. Let me show you where self-determination exists. Self-determination exists right here in the Declaration of Independence, what you celebrate every 4th of July. Go to the second paragraph. It's right here. Governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. So we the people would be considered consent of the governed. The problem is that the people don't know when they're being violated. They don't know when an unlawful tax gets laid out. They don't know when an unlawful mandate gets laid out. So they can't unite, say, hey, government, we don't consent. So the people are divided and broken because they've lost the knowledge. What are our rights? How do we exercise them? Because how does it make sense that you go to work, you earn money, they tax it. You spend money, they tax it. Whoever you spent your money with gets taxed. And they go to spend that money, they're taxed. How does that make sense again? I don't get it. If you don't get it either, let me show you some stuff that does make sense. Governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That is we the people if we know our rights. So let me show you some of your rights. Consent of the governed is a phrase based upon the principle of self-determination. Self-determination in the legal world is an imitation of the spiritual law that's called free will. Free will is spiritual law, which is just you doing something, has been imitated on paper. It is called self-determination. So you must legally on paper self-determine to legally express your free will. Here it is right here, consent of the governed, just like you read in the Declaration of Independence, right? We're gonna skip from all this and show you that it comes from right here in 1948, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This is international law for international rights for you. And let's see what it says. There it is, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Here it is right here. And let's zoom in right here on number 15. Everyone has the right to a nationality. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality, nor denied the right to change his nationality. Here's the deal. Most people believe that nationality refers to your ethnicity, like Italian. While a lot of descriptions do describe it that way, there's another meaning. Because how could you change your nationality like, I'm Italian, but you know what? I think I'm gonna be Irish. You can't do that. You are who you are. This is clearly referencing something different because it says right here, no one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality nor denied the right to change his nationality. So American, there's not a nationality for American. If you don't believe me, okay, let me show you that too. Here it is, another government book. This government publishing office style manual. This tells you in law the government defines as punctuation, capitalization, all that type of stuff. That's what this book is for. It's also for this. If you go to page 95, 2016 edition, that's the newest one, and there you go, nationalities. These nationalities are referencing the republic where it came from. Look what's not on there, American. Why out of all the nationalities isn't there American on here? Why is there Alabamian, Kentuckian, Texan? Because these are the nationalities of the nation states that were republics. So the republics still exist. The government duplicated and laid over a paper federal jurisdiction. That's where the zip codes come in. That's where the redefining of words came in. Create and show the duplicates of jurisdiction. Let me show you the duplicates that all Americans can understand. Because your country operates in what is called quasi-jurisdictional. This is like the easiest explanation. Check this one out. Here's Second Amendment, right? Look at how they defined your arms. They didn't say firearms. They said you have the right to keep and bear arms. In law, you don't mistake words. It must be exact. I want to show you. Republics have been duplicated, no different than this definition has, because the federal government's a corporation. In order for that corporation to take jurisdiction, it had to create new words, and once it defined the new word, it holds authority over it. So in your constitution, it's defined as an arm. This represents your republic. You can still purchase an arm under the republic. I've made videos explaining how to do that. It's a private sale from a private dealer. That's how you get an arm, or at all the gun shows. But if you want to see the opposite jurisdiction, here it is right here, defined as firearm. This is a duplication of the jurisdiction to take control. That's why they recreated the word. One creates, one controls. That's a natural maxim of law. So they created the word, now they control it. Because the United States is a federal corporation. So in order for them to have control over the arms, they had to redefine it as a firearm. A lot of people get confused. This is a very good thing to fall back on once you understand what's going on. Why would they need to redefine it? Well, guys, here you go. Republic of Colorado would be equivalent to the jurisdiction of arms, while the state of Colorado is equivalent to federal jurisdiction, the firearm, a federal corporation, guys. Everything's been duplicated. It's there to be very deceptive, tricky. As a citizen, you are loyal right here to Washington, D.C. You are filed in a filing cabinet, and that is where your citizenship goes to. You're not a citizen of America like you believe. You're a citizen of this federal corporation right here. You're granted privileges, not rights. It's very different. I'm sorry to tell everybody, the only way to get your rights back, you gotta learn them, then you have to exercise them. So don't skimp out on this. If someone's trying to tell you, let me do it for you, I'll charge you $1,000, don't do it. Invest into yourself, take the time into yourself and learn it and know it so you can be the change that you want to see in the world. So just know that this citizenship isn't to America, it's to Washington, D.C. So whenever you repudiate or revocate your citizenship, it's just to the corporation, this corporation right here.
That is, the president is the chief executive officer of this corporation called the United States of America.
What's the second part? Assertory oath. It means you swear under penalty of perjury that this is the truth to your best of your knowledge. Let me show you what that one does. First is the measure of credibility. No willingness to sacrifice, no liability, no responsibility. Basically, it means by swearing with an assertory oath under penalty of perjury that your sacrifice is your measure of credibility. So now your document is recognized under a second maximum of commercial law. What about repudiation and revocation? Revocation is an annulment or cancellation of a settlement, statement, or agreement. You're just canceling an offer with contracts. That's all you're doing. The legal definition. And repudiation, it's like see over here. What repudiation occurs when a party renounces their obligations under a contract. It can be that they are unwilling or unable to perform their obligation under the contract. The court sees repudiation as a serious matter, therefore they require a clear indication that a party is unready or unwilling to perform the contract. Did you see what that said? People who say you don't have to do this, right? I don't need to do that. Well, the court's gonna require a clear proof of your repudiation, or else you're a citizen. So that's why we follow it so to a T. So here's what we do with it. We mail it out to the people, as you can see at the top, Mr. Israel up there, Anthony Blinkton. And whenever he fails to respond or rebut, using all the proof, go back to the notary and get a default judgment notarized. We take our whole docket, this whole packet. We have all these detailed instructions. They're like ABCDs, they're freaking fantastic. Have this original, have all this proof filed, when you mailed it, how you mailed it, tracking number, when they received it, you got the signature, you got everything. You go and default them, you get a second set of notaries. You have this document, you have a default document, put them together, slap a cover sheet on there. Here's the most important part. You go down to the county clerks, you record it. There's a category called miscellaneous. There's a subcategory called affidavit. You record it as an affidavit on the public record. You go record it at the county clerk's office. You are swearing under penalty of perjury that this stuff is true. It is true. Guess what we use to remove consent from the government? You're never gonna guess. The most beautiful thing. This is what we use, the Freedom of Information Act. I want to show you how bad it is, the brainwashing that is. Look, democratic society. We are not a democracy. We never were. The only reason we are right now is because the people have lost their knowledge. We're actually a constitutional republic 100%. The reason it's converted over to democracy is because the people have lost their rights. They don't know the knowledge of it. It automatically converts from a republic to a democracy because we're governed by consent. If you don't know your rights, you don't have any rights. Now we all get mowed over. We use the Freedom of Information Act from what the government admitted to. We call them out in our document stating we could never, in our right mind, being God's children, ambassador for God's children, would be okay with you doing these things. Is that the government admits to, like the Tuskegee experiments, or anything that they've done to the people that they admit to, which is a lot. Use that to show why we remove consent. We no longer consent. You couldn't be a citizen. Not under God, not by our hearts. Well, that's how we do it legally. It's a whole process. You can use it for many things. This is just the step one to create self-authenticating evidence for court. Be the change you want to see, and State Nationals rock.